You are along for the ride with Mad Dog and Cole. Give me that mic. Farrell. Coming up next, the man, the myth, the legend, rock star to off-road legend, Benjamin C. Vaught.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, thank you so much, Mr. Evil Knievel. Robert, appreciate your attitude, living in the sunlight, getting to fly through the air. Dude, it's just inspiring, isn't it?
Sure is. And what else is inspiring are the brave men and women of this country that
Amen.
fight for us every day, whether they're first responders or overseas, fighting for our right to keep the party going. So we want to thank you here at Along for the Ride.
Absolutely. Much respect from all of us at Along for the Ride. While we're thanking people, we are going to thank Kicker Performance Audio, great partner of ours. Find them online at kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio, all one word. Go to their website, check out what they got, find a local dealer. They got you covered from your boat to your bike to your buggy to your truck. They got it all. Check them out. Kicker Performance Audio at kicker.com. And of course, where would I be without my Bomber eyewear? Bomber floating eyewear, Bomber safety eyewear. Find them at bombereyewear.com. Man, these boogie bombs have been attached to my head in one form or another for years now. I beat on my sunglasses because I wear them nonstop, and sometimes I'm reckless with them, and they just never let me down. You can check them out at bombereyewear.com. Tommy and the gang has so many different varieties, frames, lenses, lens colors, safety lens, polarized, non-polarized, non-safety lens, whatever you need. Bomber floating eyewear. That's right. They float. Find them at bombereyewear.com. And of course, the Premix podcast, our man Cole, live behind the lens, picking up all your desert racing photog needs and media needs. You can find him on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That is the at symbol ThePremixPodcast. Find him on Instagram, drop him a message, line him out to get some work done. Also, if you need an MC, hit him up. I know he's going out this weekend for the record reset at Dome Valley. So, and we'll get into that next episode because it'll be done by then. And of course, Kelsey Morrell Film. You need commercials, you need video creativity. Find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film. Send her a message. Tell her you heard her here and you want the Mad Dog discount code. Man, I have been waiting excitedly to get this guy on. Great friend of mine, great friend of Cole's, but many of you will know him as a rock star. Many of you will know him as an off-road racer. You've seen him at X Games, great sports manager. I don't know what he hasn't done. Ladies and gentlemen, BC Vaught, welcome to Along for the Ride.
Hola, mi amigos.
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. Good to see you guys. I've been listening to the podcast and having a great time on the road for Greenball out there. So I love it when there's a new episode and tune in. I like to hear what Cole says at the beginning of the show.
Man, I always forget that we do those. It's a last second decision. So I'm glad someone appreciates it because it gets stressful.
What was it today?
We didn't do it today because we were talking about you. So
Okay.
Yeah, we were
Hey,
actually,
real quick.
I got booted. All right.
heck yeah, we'll do it. You ready?
Sure. Go for it.
Hey, you are along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole. Give me that mic, Farrell.
Stock cars sure ain't stock no more. How
Hey,
was that?
stay tuned. We got BC Vaught coming up next.
There it is. Now we're
There it
in.
is.
Boomski.
Done. So, hey, man. So like Rockstar, we know about that. A lot of people know about your UTV stuff and a lot of that racing, a lot of the management stuff, the sports management stuff that you were doing with the Moore brothers and stuff. Um, dude, I'm dying to. I kind of know the story because you've been such a great friend to me for such a long time, and I'm sure that'll come up in your timeline story here. But um, where did it start? What lit the fire?
Uh, I don't know. It was probably my sixth grade year, hanging out at Calvary Chapel in Costa Mesa, watching Friday night rock shows, and my stepmom said, "Look at that drummer up there. You could do that." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I can." And mom bought me a drum set, and I started, playing a lot, and I just put on the headphones and started trying to play to my favorite rock tunes: Van Halen, Rush, Primus, Chili Peppers. Um, and you know, got through high school, 1992. I graduated in 88. 1992, I joined a band called Liquid Tree here in California, which had Wes Geer in the band, which turned out to be my guitar player and head PE, and later on in Korn. But by 1996, we got a record deal with Jive Records, which was the same label as Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, KRS-One, a ton of others. And recorded our first album late 96, came out in 97, got to pretty much tour the world until about 2003 when the band imploded. I don't need to go into that story. It's the definition of band imploding. It's the same reason we broke up. Comes down to how do we say this? It's an anatomy. It's part of the female anatomy.
Understood. We are not PG-13, by the way, so it's all good.
Yeah, a little squabble between Wes, our guitar player, and our singer, and it's many years later. Everybody's all over that, but after Head PE ended, the guys in Breaking Benjamin asked me to come play for them. So they were just finishing up the We Are Not Alone album with the song So Cold that everybody knows from them. So I flew out to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, joined the band, did the whole tour cycle. And after that tour, I decided that wasn't for me. I mean, it was pretty mutual. My style just was not. Breaking Benjamin's a real straightforward style. I'm more of a funky behind the beat kind of drummer. And it wasn't, when they went to Chad Saliga after I left the band, he was the perfect drummer to record the Diary of Jane album. So that worked out nicely. And with that, my good old buddy Wes Miller from H-Bomb Films hit me up, and he goes, "Hey man, you need a job, come work with me." And I said, "Well, what do you want me to do over there?" And he goes, "I don't know, but you'll figure it out." So he just hired me and kind of put me in charge to do what I wanted to do. And I thought that we could come up with a new merchandise line, and we could, maybe get on with a distributor, or I could, get on the phone and sell around the world. But we ended up hooking up with Tucker Rocky. They made a big order. And we were high on the hog. And then, it was maybe 2-3 months later, they hit us up and we had to do a buyback because nobody was buying quad riding merchandise. It was not cool enough. Right, Cole, Mr. Dirt Bike guy?
No comment.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. We got to see through the years plenty of big name riders respect my guys on the quads because it ain't easy to freestyle a quad.
No, it's not even easy to ride a quad.
Yeah.
I don't think.
No, they're a beast. But anyways, so I went to work for Wes, did the merchandise. That didn't work out. But then I was seeing all these riders ride different quads, hit different curve of a ramp because back in the day it was the Wild West with freestyle.
Yeah.
There was 3 or 4 different curves of the ramp, and promoters would just build a ramp that looks like the right curve and say, please, just try. Like, no. So I figured I'd manage these guys like my manager managed head PE. I just I take charge of everything and say, this is how everything's going to be done. And we started simplifying things. Wes and I got a deal with Polaris to represent their new sport line of quads. And so we took those quads and we told the guys they could only do a few things with them. Put, our sponsored wheels and tires on, a little longer stem, the CR double high bars. They could put their Fox air shocks on there and Nerf bars, and pretty much everything else stayed stock. That way, no matter where we went around the world, they were riding the same quad.
Yeah, nice.
And then instead of taking chances, I mean, in the early days of my time at H-Bomb, we took chances. And, Christian Gagnon hit that ramp over in England at the Weston Beach race and ate shit and was in the hospital for a month, and almost lost his leg. And that was horrible. And, all those guys had some pretty decent crashes, but we tried to simplify and make it a lot safer by sending, we'd make a deal with a promoter to go overseas and do shows. I'd send them templates. I'd send them the specs to the ramp and I'd send them a template. And I'd make them pay us 50% up front. And when we flew and buy the plane tickets, and when we flew over there, we would match the template to the ramp. And if it didn't match, then we'd bounce and not return the 50% that they already paid. We were pretty stern on that. So that kind of made sure the ramp would be built properly. We had a spec on the landing too. Landings would always change a little depending on where you were going. But, simplified it. We were able to get somewhere, Caleb and Colton came along, and Caleb was a workhorse. I mean, he was on the phone with me every morning discussing what was going to happen that day. And as time went on, it stopped becoming about what was happening that day. It started becoming more about what's coming in the future, I think Caleb was a lot like Travis Pastrana, just he had a million ideas and he wanted to reach for the stars. It's unfortunately things didn't turn out good for him on the luck side of things. But Caleb and Colton were a pleasure to work with, along with all the other riders, Sheldon Riggs, Ryan Bemis, Christian Gagnon, I just forgot his damn name. The writer, our buddy, he was in the hospital.
Uncle Sethro.
Uncle Sethro. Sorry, Seth.
Seth Farger.
Seth Farger. Yeah, he came along later, and I, Seth and I kind of had it out a few times because he was really upset that I wouldn't put him in the shows with Caleb and Colton, and I just didn't think Seth had the experience, and I think he was just trying to kind of go for it, and I didn't want to see him get hurt. At the time, he thought I was a dick for that, but I'm sure now he can say, I see where that came from. It wasn't choosing the Moore brothers over him. It was just going by
Yeah.
what I was seeing.
Well, and he ended up having that big splat, that almost took his life. So, it's a risky business for sure. And, it's man, serious respect for all those guys, and props to you for doing what you could and taking control of the situation, try and make it safer for them everywhere in every situation.
I sure wish I was the one who invented the airbag.
Yeah.
That came along kind of after we were all done with freestyle, but boy, that was such a great invention. I love seeing the airbag. I don't care if guys are landing big tricks to an airbag over dirt, they're still landing the trick.
Yeah.
It's still gnarly. So yeah, I'm stoked on the airbags.
And they definitely I believe saved lives. And case in point, when Haslam was riding with you or for you down where was that, Mexico? Or
Oh, I don't remember exactly what shows I took him to, but I know, Dune Fest obviously, and
yeah.
yeah, I don't
No,
remember.
there's one overseas. I can't remember where it was, but the bike crapped out. He was riding a loaner bike and it crapped out going over the ramp, and he ended up going into the bag. I think Puerto Rico, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ended up bailing like mid backflip or something and went into the bag and got up and walked away. And like, I saw the video from Cody Elkins, like texted me the video with no explanation. I could tell it was Rob. I'm like, dude, is he okay? Like, oh yeah, he landed on the bag. He's fine. But that was gnarly, and it would have been to a steel ramp or dirt. It would have been so bad, So it's very fortunate those came along. Going back to like the racing and stuff, and your timeline through the bands. One note that I don't have my notepad, so I'm not writing notes to keep myself on track, but I will tell folks I had the pleasure of actually seeing BC and Wes play together for the first time in I don't know how many years on stage.
Mm-hmm.
How many years?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years. Yeah, at Backyard Bar and
Billiards in Las Vegas.
Backstage, yeah, in Vegas. And man, what a great show. And the energy that those two had, like BC's new band, Breaking in a Sequence or Bias, has a lot of energy and they're exciting, right? Wes jumped up on stage and it was like somebody flipped the switch to 220, It was electrifying to watch. Yeah, I thought it was super rad. It was great. And by the way, shout out for that. He treated the Vikings so nice, got our backstage passes and the whole bit. All I wanted was the ability, the wristband that let me go outside and pollute my lungs and come back in. And he took care of me on that too, but it was a big deal. It was a big deal to both of us that Viking got to go backstage and all that. But I want to go back to the racing because there's some little known facts about Benjamin C. Vaught from way, way, way back in the racing. And hit us with some of that because you grew up at a racetrack in essence.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, my dad was he had a racing shop in Garden Grove, California, and he built racing engines and had a pretty good thing going. And it was one of my uncles at the time decided he wanted to be a NASCAR car owner. And so my dad sold his shop and pretty much everything he had to give it a go with NASCAR. And it was about 1976 to 78. He was he was attempting it, and they just ran out of money before they could gain any traction. So I got to see that. I grew up at Orange County Raceway. My dad was building motors for Jim Dunn, who's still racing in Top Fuel today.
Yeah.
For NHRA. And then we moved back to Oklahoma for my high school years. And Dad used to do the motors for a guy named Matt Mercer at Las Vegas Fair, or I'm sorry, at Oklahoma City Fairgrounds. That was one of the dopest half-mile sprint car tracks in the country. It's a shame that it's gone. But we were there every Friday night through high school. It was a lot of fun. And then, after high school, moved back to California, kind of focused on work for a while. And once music came along in 92, everything kind of went to the wayside on that, because, when you're in a band trying to get a record deal and want it to be your career, that's your goal and that's your focus. And that's all you live, eat, sleep as music. And so then did the years in music, and then once I started working with Wes, had an opportunity to race Terracross, from our good buddy Joe Duncan. Gotta say, I miss Joe Duncan. He and I used to be on the phone daily together, but just people end up going different avenues in life, and you're still buddies. You can speak once a year and you're still buds. But I miss working with Joe Duncan. He did a lot for us and the Moore brothers. He was who I went to in the end to get the Moore brothers into X Games too. So props. What's up, Joe?
Yeah, huge shout out to Joe. I've known Joe for a while also, and like you said, maybe talk once a year now, and still buds. But there's a time back, like the Terracross days, and I was trying to put a deal together with his Terracross program to supply the exhaust and fuel management systems for the razors that they were racing.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I could supply the product, but I couldn't, as a big sponsor, I couldn't talk Rob into cutting the extra big check. So, but that's a whole nother deal there. And the Terracross stuff. You race King of Hammers in a side-by-side, I
Yeah,
think.
2017, I raced it, and that was one of the most fun things I did in a razor. That was my poor co-pilot Brent Macias. We didn't realize how much the co-pilot has to be in shape. You got to do a lot of winching, and we got up there and jackhammer and all that, and sledgehammer, and Brent was throwing up. And I was yelling, persevere, persevere, but like kind of laughing, at the same time. We took it serious, but not so serious. Like I bet John Crowley before the race $100 that I'd beat him. And I'd had an issue at the beginning of the race, and everybody got ahead pretty far, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Well, I forget where we were, but I caught up to Crowley, and I pulled up next to him and just waved, "Yo, what's up? $100." Like, what the fuck? And but by the time I got to Sledgehammer, I was out 2 axles, one rear and one front. So we called it a day, obviously.
Yeah, I remember tracking you through that, following you, and I think Crowley had a side bet with the Iceman. What was his name from Salt Lake? Dean Bullock.
No, I don't know, Dean.
I think they had a side bet because I think that was the year that Crowley ran the Razor S or the 900S or whatever it was. And Dean Bullock was running the Arctic Cat 700 Sport,
Okay.
and they had like a side bet going on who was going to beat who.
Did that Arctic Cat finish?
Yeah, I think if I remember right, Dean uh beat, I think Mitch Senior and Junior won, and Dean beat John by like 3 minutes, and John finished like a minute before the cutoff.
Ah,
I think that was that year. Might have been 15. Anyway, yeah, they all blend
was the
together.
year that I raced, but you're talking they did that bet 2 years before that.
Yeah, it must have been 15, 14 or 15.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was pretty funny. Crowley with all his side bets, and I'd like to
Confident
actually,
Crowley, we'll call him, you know?
yeah, right.
Confident in his craft Crowley. Okay.
I'd like to see him get back in a car at King of the Hammers.
I would too.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, dude can drive.
Yeah.
Hey, Crowley, Crow Dog, if you're listening, we're calling you out. King of the Hammers 2024. Get in there and do it.
$100.
$100.
Yeah.
BCO co-drive.
No,
Podcast will throw in at least $40 sponsorship. So there you go. You're basically there.
Yeah.
not co-drive. I am not a
Yeah.
co-driver.
So speaking of racing and stuff you've done, I know you've done a bunch of other stuff. You've been involved in motorsports, um, quad stuff, side by side stuff, and I consider it blessed. A lot of people tell me I'm cursed, but I was blessed to meet you back at Doomfest, which is funny because that's where Cole and I first became friends. I had met him once before for like Camp Razor weekend, but we really became friends at Doomfest, and that's where I met you the year you were there with Caleb and Colton, and I remember I was working for Rob then, and you were like, "Hey, you know." I think you maybe called me before that. You got my number from Joey D or somebody, and you were like, "Hey, we're going to side by sides, and do you want to be a part of it? You want to support us?" And I was like, "Hell yes, I do." And so there's a lot of good times out of that too. And man, that turned into a great friendship for us. We're like brothers. Greatly appreciate it. I want to get on to
Because it was cool how you would send me like 3 or 4 exhausts a week that I could sell and
yeah.
spend for or use for gambling money in Vegas. And I was stoked on that. I appreciate that.
Right. Rob, if Rob listened to this, he would blow a gasket right now, but he would also probably know better.
Sure.
But
We
yeah,
always
so
we always loved our sponsors, man. You were always awesome to us, and we were lucky. We had a great group of sponsors, man. Bunch of cool people that were always willing to be there and help. Obviously, Kicker was one of the biggest, and those guys to this day are awesome. I'm bummed I didn't get to see Roger on this last trip, but I almost went through Stillwater, and we were going to meet for breakfast.
oh, that would have been cool. He's such a fun guy, and they really are great. So they've supported me for a long time, and they've supported you for a lot longer and been behind just about anything you do for a lot longer. And that's it's pretty rad that we're all like part of from all these different areas, and we've come together, and we're all part of like the Kicker family, and as well as being friends and stuff. It's
Yeah.
just crazy how it all worked out.
Yeah, it's been a long, fun ride in this industry. Tons of cool people, man. You never stop meeting great people.
No, and now with your new gig with Greenball, GBC Canati Tires, shout out Corey Ellis and crew. brilliant move, by the way, Corey. If you listen to this, brilliant move bringing BC on. He's the right guy for the deal. He's the real deal, 100%. But with this, yeah, with this new deal, man, you get to side by side, you get to Jeep, and you get paid.
Yeah. Um, when Corey hit me up about a year and a half ago, he was like, "Do you have any spare time on your hands?" And I go, "Depends on what for, And he goes, I need somebody to manage the West Coast fleet of vehicles, get them to the events, do marketing, on-site marketing, and I know you could drive, so you're not going to tear our stuff up, and I know you can do marketing, so I just feel like I'd love to have you do it, And I said, all right, okay, let's do it, And then he gave me the schedule of things to do, and it entails about 2 or 3 cross-country trips a year, and I love being behind the wheel cross country. It's an adventure every time, you know. But then I got to really get back in deep with these events like UTV Takeover and Side by Side Adventure Rally on the Rocks and Trail Hero, which was awesome this year. It kind of reignited the fire to go for this shit again. And with that, this band Breaking in a Sequence started hitting me up to jam with them. They had the original drummer of Korn, David Silvera, in the band, and he decided to move to Florida. So, I started playing in the band. Next thing you know, we were playing in Vendor Row at UTV Takeover this past event at Sand Hollow, and we put a big GBC tent up by the stage and, just cool shit, just cross marketing a little bit. But, recently I've been given the go ahead because I've been frustrated. I go to all these events and you talk to people about the tires, but they're like, can I buy some from you? And you say, well, no, you have to go to a dealer, and I've been hitting up Randy going, come on, man, let me sell tires at these events, So he ended up telling me recently he's going to pull the trigger on that, and also told me I can handle Southern California if I want with all the off-road shops and go build relationships. So I'm going to attack that and have a lot of fun.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. That's news to me. Even I didn't even know that part. So that's really cool. And you've got some. I know you've got some really cool stuff up and coming, but I don't want to bypass this because you just did the Whiskey a Go Go, you and Bias, along with
Hosted by Mr. Jim Beaver.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and sponsored by Belching Beaver.
Belching Beaver. And
Beaver
Jim
Brew.
Beaver released his signature beer there, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he have his Terex there, his special build?
No.
Okay.
No, because the idea was to get that thing inside the whiskey, and Mike Maglieri, who owns the whiskey, was like, do whatever you want, man. If you get that thing in here, let's do it. And there's never been a vehicle inside the whiskey. So Jim, he was going to take the whole cage off the top and turn it sideways, get it in there, and then rebuild it inside so he could photo shoot in the whiskey, but it wouldn't fit. So that idea went out the window. And then as the show got closer, bringing that thing from wherever he's building it and setting it up on the corner, Doheny and Sunset, he wouldn't have been able to enjoy the show. He'd been dealing with that UTV all night. So I just said, come to the show and announce it, MC it.
Well, and that was rad too, because I got a message from I said, man, I sent him a message. I was like, have a great time. I'm really jealous. He goes, dude, they just asked me to MC the whole thing. I'm like, oh, hell, you got this. And he's like, holy cow. It was a huge deal to him. And which is funny because I mean, it's internationally syndicated radio host Jim Beaver, right?
Yeah.
And he's intimidated by MC. I mean, I watched him master through Red Bull Sand Scramble 2022 live on the mic and live on Red Bull TV, and he never said, you know, fuck, shit, piss, any of that stuff,
Yeah.
and managed it, you know. And then he's all nervous at Whiskey a Go Go. So, like, that's, I think, like a statement to how big of a deal that was for everybody, you know.
I mean, it was cool. It's just bros getting together, being able to have fun. You know, that's why I got back into playing drums. Like, I made it clear to my guys in the band. I said, I'm not getting into this to run out and try to get a record deal. You know, we're not a groundbreaking band, just a rock band that makes some pretty cool songs. But I'm not chasing a record deal. I don't want, I really don't want to go on tour for months at a time. So I'm doing this to play again, you know, chase. I have a talent for playing drums. I'm not the greatest drummer in the world. I'm not the worst, but I have a style and I enjoy it. So why not? So, and I go, and then maybe if I can incorporate music into what I'm doing now with Greenball and do some cross marketing, you know, it won't hurt the marketing of the brand, you know,
Right.
help it. And at the same time have some fun because that's, you know, I've been pretty fortunate my whole life to have jobs that I enjoy and get to travel and you know, so I'm very thankful for this job and I like to kind of exceed my expectation there. So if I can bring other elements in to make it cool, then I'll do my best, you know.
Yeah. Nice.
Speaking of
What?
incorporating the drums into off-road events, it was pretty badass. Like I've never been, you know, tight with RJ Anderson. We've hung out a few times. Always thought he was a cool cat, you know, and UTV takeover, you know. I'd gotten off the drums and I think I was having a shot of whiskey with a buddy or something. RJ comes up and he goes, what the fuck? He's like, dude, I didn't know you could fucking play like that. I just look up and there you are on the drums. You know, this is the shit. I was like, cool, thanks, man. That was pretty cool.
You're like, dude, this is how it all started, basically. You know, it all rolls into one thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, it's Cole. I'm sure Cole and you know, Cole's a percussionist or at times. So you know, he's always had a appreciation for your craft for sure. And I just like the sound of it. So every once in a
Oh,
while,
where
you
do you
know,
live now?
So I still live in Mission Viejo. I started in Mission Viejo, went to San Clemente, moved all around, so now I'm back. Yep.
Our studio's in Costa Mesa, man. You should come down to a rehearsal.
Oh man, I'd have to practice a little bit here, but I'd love to check it out for sure.
Yeah, just come down and hang out. You don't have to play, but if you want to play, you're welcome to it.
No, I'd love to watch you guys go. And like what Lauren was saying, and the same fascination with RJ had, the last time I got to see you play drums was actually up in Idaho at the UTV invasion. And there was the local band that played. I think their name was the Volts. I think Lauren will probably the Volts.
Yes.
And so here we are, and you get on the drum set, and then you're playing Ghost Square Hammer. So it's like, here's a guy I know who's sorry, but you're a highly classed drummer playing a song that I love in the middle of nowhere, Idaho. So that is such a cool memory for me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And how cool is it how much Ghost has blown up since then too?
It's crazy. It's like you used to be able to buy a ticket for like $20 and now you got to pre-order them for like $150. So I'm trying to see him up at the forum here soon. So we'll see.
And you know, my manager in head PE is Ghost's manager, Kristen Mulderigan and Rick Sales.
How convenient.
I rarely ask for, you know, especially in LA, you know, if I ask Rick Sales, he'll put me on the list, but you know, I don't ask for backstage and all that because it's just, I know how it is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you know, that's why you don't do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Like last year before, you were like hey, what are you doing? I think I was out of town or something. You're like, I was going to tell you to come up to Vegas because we're going to hang out with Donnie and Marie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then he sent me pictures like all night of you hanging out with them.
Well,
And
as you know, my buddy John Rapp's dad has been like head of security for Bob Seger since Bob Seger started his career, I guess.
wow.
So
That's
whenever
cool.
Bob Seger tours, we get to go backstage and we're treated like, we're treated very well. We can stand right at the side of the stage. And, uh, I mean, dude, I took dad and Marie there when my dad had open heart surgery, 20 years ago or something. Uh, and we were at the MGM Grand Garden Arena on the side of the stage, and Joe Walsh was standing right, like maybe 10 feet from us. And
Wow.
Marie was like, "Oh my God, look at that's Joe Walsh." I didn't shit. I just walked over to Joe and I'm like, "Hey, Mr. Walsh, my dad, he just had heart surgery over there. Will you go say hi?" And he goes, "Yeah, man." And he went over there and he ended up hanging out. He gave Marie a big hug and ended up shooting the shit with Dad and Marie for like 20 minutes. Super cool, and just watched the show together. And that was pretty cool. But then, just a few years ago, like you said, Seeger last toured, we went back to Vegas, and yeah, Marie Osmond was hanging out there with us and stuff, and super cool. And wanted to get a picture of all the group hanging out backstage, and that was neat.
That's cool. And, they like, I don't know many of the musical people that but on the motorsports side, I've had some great opportunities to hang around with you and find out, we have some mutual friends when we like Clay. I'm trying to get him lined out to be on here. Um, which we were all hanging out at SEMA there at the kicker booth. I think I rode with you actually to SEMA because I wasn't working that event. I wasn't on staff, and you and I went over there. And then the bunch of the Street Outlaw guys were there, and I had no idea that you were so tight with Chris Kamikaze.
That was yeah.
Yeah, and
I was trying to connect Chris with Polaris for a while. Chris was really wanting to get into the Razor stuff, and I was trying to make that connection, but I think it came at a time where Polaris was starting to try to weed peeps out. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
they had overspent their budget by far, I'm sure. So it didn't work out, but that's okay. Chris and I are still buds, and uh, Clay Millican, obviously, we're buds. And you know why I'm friends with Clay Millican is because Clay's son used to race quads.
yeah, Dalton.
Well, yeah, and so when Caleb died, Ron Capps called me. I've been friends with Ron Capps for many years through music. Ron Capps called me and he goes, "Hey, you know Clay Millican?" And I said, I of course I know who he is, but I've never met him. And he goes, "Oh, when you come to the races this weekend, you need to go over and talk to him." So I went to the races that weekend. I walked over to the pit, and Clay saw me and his eyes lit up. He already knew what I looked like, I guess. He's like, "Hey, BC, come here, man." Oh, and just like made me feel at home. And we've been friends ever since. And, uh, he and Donna are just some of the nicest people ever. And it's always great to see him. We don't talk on the phone often. We have a pretty good story to share from I don't know if I should tell the story, but it was pretty gnarly when uh, a certain crew chief defected from his team a couple years ago. And I don't want to give names, but what a douchebag. He filled like their toolboxes full of oil and stuff like that. And Clay told me, he goes, if we lose this race, are you going to be here at the pits? And I go, "Yeah, I can be. Why?" He goes, "That might get a little weird over here." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll be here." It was me, and then I had my buddy Derek with me. He's a big boy. And, so sure enough, he lost that round, came back and starts back his car in. Well, he goes to get out of the car and they got the race pack in there. And Clay went to get the, intellectual property, so to speak, out of the race pack. And it became like a struggle match with him and that crew chief. And I saw
Wow.
that, and the crew chief way bigger than Clay.
Way bigger.
I went out
Yes.
and shoved that guy pretty good and got him off Clay. And then it started a whole melee. I just saw him kind of roughing up Clay a little. I didn't dig it. He's such a
Yeah.
nice, he's not a big guy.
No.
You know,
No.
I probably should have minded my own business on that, but I think everybody would have done that for Clay.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Um, those who think you should have minded your own business, you can unsubscribe right now because I don't give a shit. That's the kind of person BC is, and that's the kind of person we should all be. You see a friend in need, man, you're there. And I have stories I could tell where, where I was that guy in need. It wasn't, I didn't need someone's ass whooped, except maybe my own, but BC was there, dude, So yeah, and Clay is like the nicest guy ever. I mean, I went and saw him. I went with the Cuskinator to the four wides in Vegas, and
Escalator. I
yeah,
hear that.
and I had only talked to Clay on the phone and and messaged him. I'd never met him in person. Um, I might have taken some pictures. He might have been an industry ride. I might have taken some pictures. Anyways, but here we show up and here comes Clay. We walk in past the gate up into the pits and here comes Clay. Man just jumps on me. I had met him in person at SEMA the year you and I were there together. And that's when he came up and jumped on me, gave me a big old hug and whatnot. And then at the races, he literally jumped on me, and I was like, holy cow, it's a good thing he's not a big guy because I probably would have fallen over. But I brought him some of my Mad Dog logo stickers to put on his toolbox at home.
Yeah.
And so I give them to him. I'm like, hey, these are for your toolbox at home. And he's like, oh, I know just where they're going too. And I'm like, right on. That's so cool. And he goes in the hauler, and I assumed he went in to put them away till he got home. He comes back out with rubbing alcohol and two of the stickers, and Donna's helping him make sure they're and put them on the nose of his car in Vegas, and went out and ran like 3:31. I think he made it to the final four that race. I'm not sure, but he ran for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. He ran the Mad Dog stickers on the front of his Top Fuel car. And I mean, I'm like, I just gave him to him to be on his tool, but that's the kind of guy he is, so. And
did your Shopify merchandise store blow up?
no, I didn't have one. I don't have merch. I correct myself. I do have merch, but I don't sell it. The only way to get it is if I give it to you.
It's like being a Red Bull athlete or something, you got to be on the in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have one, don't you?
I might have two. Yeah.
No, I mean BC.
Oh, BC, yeah.
I don't know if I do. I don't think so.
Oh, well, if you don't, I have one your size. Quad X, right?
Close. Close. I'm getting there.
I'm just kidding. No, talking about all this racing, I don't
make bigger boobs so I can put that logo out there. You know what I'm saying?
That's just good marketing.
Yeah,
Smart.
Always thinking.
Get it out front, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Um,
Where are you, Cole? You're sitting out in Ocotillo Wells or
No,
something?
I'm actually in my office in Mission Viejo, but this is just the background.
No,
So I've
I know
been getting
that.
in the desert
he's
photography lately. So yeah, I had to explaining
he,
this.
he's messing with you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Now
Come
I
on,
realize. What do you mean I know? But now I'm like, yeah, now I'm
episode
embarrassed.
47.
He's so creative. Lauren's at home and he puts a background up like he's in some motel somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my office at home in Havasu. I'm coming to you from the beautiful, actually brand new Best Western Plus Amarillo.
Dude, I Best Western Pluses are awesome. I stay at one in Washington, Utah when I go to, the Sand Hollow events.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got a they got a it's probably one of my favorite hotels ever, and it's a Best Western Plus.
Yeah, they're super friendly. They just opened this place about 6 months ago. Um,
Is that
the rate,
right off the 40 there?
yeah, right off the 40 and Ross Ross Road,
Yeah, I
right?
just passed by it a few
Yeah,
months.
just on
So
the, I guess considered Amarillo East,
yeah. Oh, you're
but
over there by the steakhouse then.
yeah, not too far, like 4 exits or 5 exits or something like that. So, um, but yeah, no, it's actually it's clean, it's nice, people are friendly, 24-hour coffee, um, and that's very very important to me. So yeah, and while we're talking about racing, we got distracted by backgrounds, but um, I was catching you on the Beaver show, Jim Beaver show,
Mhm.
listening to that. And so you actually made it public what your next racing adventures gonna be.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll see what goes on with it, but hanging out with my buddy Ryan, and he said I'm gonna buy a trophy truck, and me and you are gonna drive it. I'm like, okay, sure, but since then, every day he's calling me, talking about what we're doing, this and that, and we'll see. But I think we're gonna be racing a trophy truck this year. The original goal was the Mexican 1000, but there was problems with travel and hotels and stuff on that. I guess you got to get on that event pretty early before all the hotels sell out. And I think we're going to take our time getting the chase vehicles built and so on, and so we'll see what happens. But it looks like it's going through. Can't wait. That's a bucket list right there.
Oh, no doubt. And he does have a trophy truck.
Yeah, he bought Robbie Pierce's truck just before Robbie went down to Bon Air and had his diving accident. I still don't know what happened. We don't ask out of respect,
Sure.
they want to say, but it heard it was a diving accident. But he had told Ryan that he diving was his passion, but he hadn't been able to do it for many years because he's been focused on so much on the business and racing. So he wanted to go down there and hang out for a week and have a nice time. And when he got back, let's have a blast, boys. And Ryan sent him the money for the truck, and while he was there, and then called me and said, "Look at Instagram right now, man. They're posting Robbie passed away." It's a shame because Ryan says that he and I would have got along very well. Just a super cool guy, and I never had the opportunity to meet him, but Ryan said he was a super cool cat and would have been a lot of fun to race with, and so we'll see what happens with Jimco, and we'll just go about our business, and we're not going out there to try to prove a point to anybody. We're just going out there to have a great time. Ryan says too, the idea of racing the truck is to enhance the Fiesta.
Right.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, that I can see him saying that. So, and that's pretty exciting, man. I hope this all gets rolling for you soon and everything everything falls into place. Going to be pretty rad. And you know, I'm thankful that every once in a while you get to you haul your GBC GBC tires RMAX out, and we get to go for a little rip out in the desert with my
Yeah,
kicker razor. And
I got to get out there because I just bought Don Hanley some trailer tires for that trailer he's working on. I don't know if you've gone over there and seen it.
no, I haven't. I'm
But
almost afraid to.
yeah, this guy we're talking about, it's like he just turned 89, 80, 80,
90.
I think 90.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
90.
He still builds stuff and he's the coolest old guy. He doesn't have any money, but he lives on the Indian reservation. And so I do what I can for him. And
That's rad.
yeah, super, super, like he's one of the staples of Havasu Landing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that guy. And we've seen our core group of elders pass away in the last few years. And, and Don's son actually just died recently there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, do what you can for him, but I need to get back out there and hang out for a weekend, and I'll bring that RMAX and do some riding.
Yeah, for sure. Just do it on a weekend when I'm home.
Yeah, I'll coordinate with you.
Yeah.
Say the Blue Moons.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
from
You
Wisconsin.
definitely got to get out and see them before they get out of here at the end of the month, into this
April,
month, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is March, right? So
Yep.
yeah. So all right, we got let me see. Where are we?
I
Are
got
we
one
tight?
last thing to talk about.
Yeah.
When are you broadcasting this show?
um
Should be tomorrow, March 2nd.
well yeah,
Yeah,
right. It'll probably I'll probably what's today? Tuesday?
it's Wednesday,
Yep.
Or
Wednesday?
Thursday tomorrow, Friday the next day.
It'll be probably either Friday or Saturday morning.
Oh, cool. Because our buddy Matt Martelli, who has become a pretty good friend of ours, has invited me to set up some bands to play the Mint 400 out at
Nice.
out at State Line. Monster decided to bring their music stage out there, and so Matt called me up and said, "Hey, you want to do something with that?" I said, "Sure." So I got Minor Strut playing it, and I got Bias, my band, playing it. I got Mug, which is an LA band that played with us in Hollywood,
Yep.
and then the Happy Campers playing. And so we'll be playing 4 time slots each day, Friday and Saturday, out at State Line at Prim. So you want to see me gasp for air? Come on out. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. And it's funny you talk about Minor Strut. I had no idea that you've known Chris for so long.
Many years. My cousin, he's passed away now, Paul, introduced me to Chris years ago when I was over at his house in Yorba Belinda. He's like, "Oh, that guy across the street, I guess, is in your industry, knows who you are." And he was at the time working at Twisted Stitch, which was like
Yep.
a seat UTV seat company or something. And turns out his daughter, actually, it's funny because Joey D had an event out there at the Tierra del Sol.
It was at Camp Razor.
No, it was a different event though.
Oh,
It was,
really?
is that where Tierra del Sol is in Ocotillo Wells?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they had some type of, I think it was like a UTV underground weekend or something. And Joey D said, "Hey, any bands?" And I got a band to come out there and play. And they put a little stage out there, and Corinne was there. And at the time, geez, she was 10 or 11. And she got on stage and sung with the band that we had come out, and it blew everybody away. And here she is, coming up in a pretty cool band, man. Minor Struts, they're going to be around. They're going to kick ass. They're young. They're all like 20 years old, but they're great musicians, and she's a hell of a little singer.
Yeah. I remember it had to be about the same time frame because Joey had the UTV Underground compound at Camp Razor, and
Hmm.
that had to be maybe 2014
Yeah.
ish, and they brought in a portable stage, and they played on the stage. um I got over there, we were a partner with Polaris and UTV Underground at the
Mhm.
time, and I got over there and hung out. That was a good time for sure. Really good time. So, um, and honestly, Joey D did a lot for the side by side industry. I know
Sure
he's out
did.
of it now, and he's taken a lot of shit from a lot of people. Um, but he did do a lot for the
It's
industry.
easy for people to talk shit when they don't understand, the whole story. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And to his defense, he kicked ass at what he did, man. UTV
Yeah.
Underground's media was badass when he was running it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, that being said, also the Martellis, uh, Matt and Josh have done a great job building the Mant, and now adding, what is it called? Cal
California
300.
300. Yep.
Mhm.
And what's the other one they're talking about? Is there one more? I heard rumors, so I just didn't know if it was out there. I heard rumor that there may be the what is it? Barstow to what was the old race? Barstow to Laughlin?
Oh, Vegas.
Barstow to Vegas. Yeah, I heard that one, possibility of that one coming back at some point. And if anybody could bring it back, I would guess it was them after what they've done with the Mint 400.
Yeah.
I'm I'm constantly in Matt's ear. Hey, get Uncle Ted back. Like, find somebody to put a car together and get him back. I mean, I remember seeing pictures of Ted Nugent in Offroad magazine or something like that when I was a kid
Yeah.
racing the Mint 400, and I'm like, wow, this crazy guitar god that my parents won't let me listen to in the house is like an off-road racer too. What the hell? I'm like, that's so awesome. So yeah. And then I'm at BC Vaught, and it's like the
All
skins,
downhill from there.
the skin. uh nah, it's been yeah, downhill coasting for the fun. Soapbox derby style.
I think
Um
Minor Strut play the annual Vista del Lago pool party
ah
this year.
the homestead party. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That And we're definitely not doing it on a Sunday, I was told.
It's the first, I believe. On
I
the first.
I voted for the Sunday and got stomped instantly. So I was like, whatever. I'm I'm taking my daddy's records and going home.
Yep. Anybody wants to go to a great party in July 4th weekend, Havasu. Hit up
Yeah.
Lauren's going to be cooking, cleaning, singing. Yeah, we got to get you on stage to sing something like Wes Miller did.
Oh yeah, I've been known to do that back when I drank, but haven't done it much since I quit drinking. So,
Have
you
to be
know,
to sing.
Time for a comeback, it sounds like.
Uh, we'll play some Culture Club for you.
Culture Club, perfect. How about some
Backstreet
Dead or
Boys,
Alive?
dead or alive.
You spin me right round, baby, right round.
Great. Now we're demonetized. They're going to think that was the record playing.
Yeah, hopefully. Made me laugh enough.
I have a gnarly day of work tomorrow. I have to take a couple trucks out to Lytle Creek and do a photo shoot with the one and only Enrico Pavia, one of the best photographers in the business, for some of the baddest tires in the business. I can't wait. Sucks to have to do that as a job, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty tough. And I think I was bummed that Colton didn't want to say hi.
I'll tell you something right now. Here's how Colton is. What Caleb was the extrovert,
Yeah,
Colton was the introvert. And anytime you've ever seen Colton do an interview, I was right there coaching him through it because
poking him in the back.
he's like a deer in headlights. So when I asked him if he wanted to do this podcast, he's like, "Man, I really don't have anything to talk about." And he goes, "I'm not in the industry anymore. I'm just visiting here from Costa Rica." And he goes, "And you know me, I don't like to talk anyways. So do I have to do it?" And I go, "No,
No.
You don't have to do anything.
Unless he's down at the beach with his lady. If he was going to do the podcast, I was going to have to go pick him up and bring him over here, have him sit in my man cave with me, and take
There you go.
after. And yeah,
Cool. Well, I know you got a full day tomorrow shooting for Canati Tires and
yeah.
GBC Tire Corporation. You got any other partners that you want to thank?
Oh, I mean, sure. I was stoked that Belching Beaver people came to our concert at the Whiskey, and his name's Tom, the owner. He said, "Come on down to the brewery and hang out." So I look forward to hanging with him actually at the Mint 400 next week. But GBC Kicker's always been great, but I don't really have any sponsors right now. So I just I want to represent our brand, Canati and GBC. They've been real good to me, and I'm going to do the best I can for them to help more people know about their tires. And I love their tires. They make some of the best UTV tires in the business. And now we're trying to get people acquainted with Canati, which is only 12 years old. So,
Yeah, and for the record, they make some of the best trailer tires. And those of you who listen to me all the time know about my trailer issues. I have got the longest life out of the Greenball, the GBC trailer radials.
Those aren't even the all steel construction tires.
Yeah, those aren't even the top of the line. They're next level down. And I've had great luck with them. I will continue. As soon as this podcast takes off and monetizes, I'm going to buy the good tires.
Yes.
No, it definitely be worth it.
I think once the podcast takes off and monetizes, that's when you start getting all the shit for free.
Yeah, that'd be rad. I'm not looking forward to do that. I'm just looking to have fun and talk to my buds. So,
but yeah, so breaking in a sequence, check us out on all the streaming platforms, and come see us at the Mint 400 out at State Line, and check out Canati and GBC. And thanks to Corey Ellis for putting me in that position. He's on a road trip right now, so get this podcast out so he can check it out.
Yeah, for sure, and that's pretty exciting news coming up about the Mint 400. Looking forward to being able to see I'll be on the road, but looking forward to be able to see all the social media coming out of that and coverage of the bands. That's a whole new deal. Should be pretty exciting. So, Cole, you got anything to wrap this up?
No, it's just cool that you'll be on stage at the Mint 400 this year, and then you'll be on the podium in the trophy truck next year. So this works out great.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
That would be rad. Before we go, I want to cover one story, and this goes back to Cole, myself, and BC in Idaho. I'd known BC a while at the time. I'm sure Cole had also, and we had this band and called the Volts, and they were, I think, the oldest player in the band then was 16, and they did basically classic rock stuff like that. Pretty talented kids, and I said, "Hey, I got this friend who's a drummer, and I'd sure like for him to be able to sit in with you guys. And they're kind of like, oh, well, yeah, okay, sure. You're writing the check. And then, you know, BC sat in. I think you guys did almost an entire set. Um, and but that wasn't the coolest part for me. I know it was for Cole. Cole was like just watching your technique and absorbed in it. The coolest part for me was after that and the time that BCU spent with those kids, just talking to them about what it takes, what to do, what not to do, specifically how not to act, based on the experiences that you had to deal with when head imploded. Um, you gave those kids a lot of good advice, and you really cared about them. And man, that was. I mean, I knew you're a decent dude, but then it's like this dude's a rock star, and he's hanging out with these kids. Oh, and he's calling Sid. Uh, I think you called Sid that night. You like FaceTimed him,
Yeah.
and they were just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, Sid, from the band Slipknot,
Yeah.
hasn't changed a bit since I met him at Ozfest 1999. think Sid was like, I think Sid was only like 20 years old at the time. But Sid he's such a sweetheart of a dude. And I just recently helped him. He wanted to film a video for this, Ricardo Grimm is his new artist. And he wanted to film a video of some guys drifting and wanted it to be in a safe atmosphere. And I said, you got to go to Irwindale then. It's not going to be free, but you don't want to take chances with that stuff anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of the president at Irwindale and hooked them up, and we went out there for the video shoot, and it was super cool. Can't wait for it. He's editing it now, so it should come out pretty soon.
Nice. I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool at UTV Worlds 2020. And Sid was there, and you were the one that talked him into racing the Razor. He'd never desert raced, and he finished third or fourth.
I don't remember what they finished, but it was a great finish, and
it was respectable.
And the driver was a buddy that I've known since elementary school. So I go, hey, you need somebody to co-pilot? And he goes, I got somebody, but what do you got in mind? I go, a guy from the band Slipknot. He goes, yes, let's do this, And Sid hopped in, and at that finish line, it was super cool, man. We celebrated and had a great time. And I was announcing the race with, Martelli and
Tim.
And Tim, yes.
TPQ.
Shellman,
Yeah.
TPQ, yeah, super cool dude.
Dude, I've had the opportunity to work 2 or 3 Doomfests with him. We share the stage doing the freestyle shows, and man, I just love working with that dude. He's a solid dude. So,
super.
Anyways, you got a full day. We need to wrap up. BC, any party? I was going to do rapid fire, but I totally spaced on writing anything down, and I'm not as good off a snap as Cole is. So, you got anything to wrap up?
Talking to me or Cole?
Either one of you.
I'm open. Thanks for having me on the show. I know, it's like you kept pushing to have me on the show. I'm like, why do you want to have me on the show? Get some people who are known in the industry, but people know me a little bit, and I'm happy to do this and happy to get to know more people in the industry. And I'm thankful for the gig I have with Canadi and GBC, and look forward to going to many events this year and meeting people. So if you're going to the Mint, come by, say what's up when we play. And if you're at a UTV or Jeep event, anything like that, and you see Greenball there, GBC or Canadi, come by and say what's up. And by the way, get a hold of me if you want our tires. If you want to check out our tires, get a hold of me. It's at Rotation Motorsports on Instagram. You can inbox me there, and I'm always happy to take care of people and get our tires on their wheels.
For sure. Right on. And I've mostly wanted you on here just because you've been such a rad friend for so long, and you do have a great story. You undersell yourself a lot. You're pretty humble part of the time. And I had to get a jab in there. No, really. And I think you're a rad dude. And so with a long history of motorsports and music, and I do believe those two go together quite well. So that's why I wanted to have you on.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and like I say, I always love listening to your show. It's funny to listen to the show, and then I call you on the phone, and I'm like, "Oh wait, I was just listening to you here."
I know. I get those text messages when you're driving across the country, and it's like, last episode, what's next?
Yep, let's get it going. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And man, I want to thank Cole. Cole, thank you for helping me put all this together and doing all the hard part. All I got to do is the dumb stuff and talk.
Glad to do it. And thank you, BC, for coming on once again, man. I know it's getting late, so thank you.
Yep, thanks for having me.
You bet. See you, BC.
Hey guys, safe travels.
Thank you. You too.
All right, later.
All right,
Good night. Man, that was the world famous Benjamin C., or as we call him, BC Vaught. Dude, what a story. What a great dude.
Yeah, he's forgotten more cool stories than the most of us will ever have,
100%, bro. 100%. So yeah, I'm so grateful that between practice and photo shoots and all that stuff that we're able to snag him. Been trying to get him for a long time. So super grateful. At that, I think we're wrapping up. We want to be sure and thank our partners, the Premix Podcast, our man Cole, getting behind the lens and getting your desert racing photog needs. Hit him up at the Premix Podcast on Instagram. That is the @ symbol, ThePremixPodcast, all one word, on Instagram. Hit him up if you need MC work also. And also Kelsey Morrell Film, she's working real hard to get all our videos together for YouTube. We're slowly getting things up. There's a lot of work to do because we cut the audio first and she has to go back and make it all match. It's some kind of crazy magic, but that's what she does for a living. So look her up if you need a TV commercial, you need something done, you need a video done, or you need editing. Look her up on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film, or hit me up at MAddOG_media or Cole, and we can send you her Instagram if you can't spell it. We want to thank Kicker Performance Audio, stellar partner, always looking after us, always keeping us living loud. Check out all their automotive, boat, motorcycle, and off-road audio. Man, just greatness at kicker.com. Bomber Eyewear, Tommy and the gang with these Levi's of sunglasses, man. Everybody should own 14 pairs. Every style, every lens color, anything you can imagine. And they float. Check them out.
Most importantly, yep.
Yeah, check them out at
bombereyewear.com.
Well done. That was a surprise throw to Cole. Nice
Ninja
cover.
fast, baby. Ninja fast.
Ninja fast. And of course, Cole, thank you for putting up with me and all my travel and all my other crap and bad lighting and
Yeah,
all
thanks for
that.
traveling so we have something to talk about.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I think with that, happy March 1st.
Happy
Cole,
March.
you got anything?
Dome Valley Raceway this weekend. Catch me on the mic if you're not sick of hearing me on here.
Heck yeah, get out there and do it and watch some really fast sand drags.
Very, like, looks comical how fast they go.
Crazy. So, all right, with that, Mad Dog out.